You all, we are not licensed professionals. You know, we are just here on this roller coaster called life, trying to be better friends to one another, trying to be better human beings on this planet. If you're tuning in, we are not opting out of therapy. We are not advocating that you listen to us and not see someone who is licensed and trained to help you with day-to-day life on how to cope and deal. So we advocate for therapy a lot here. We believe that everyone has something to talk to somebody about. So, just like to make that disclaimer that we're just here giving our opinions and having discussions week by week. And we're hoping that, maybe you can find something useful, or if at least find a little humor in this terrible, terrible rock we call the world.
In other words, if you listen to our advice and you get popped in the mouth, don't at us.
Yeah, don't at me because you may get popped in the mouth again. Welcome back to another episode of Friendship University. We're thanking you so much for tuning in another week for our shenanigans. As you know, I'm Kristen. I'm joined by my lovely co-host, Miki. Miki, how you doing?
I'm doing good today, actually. I had a pretty productive day at work. I had a really lazy weekend. I watched season 4 of Stranger Things, I think.
Yeah, I think
That
that's what you
finale.
said you liked it.
That finale
I haven't
was
watched
real
it,
good.
so no spoilers. You don't have to skip. I haven't watched it yet, but I'm hoping for a particular outcome. We'll see.
You should watch it, but let me tell you, running up that hill. Been running up that hill all weekend with that show. But no, I'm doing real good. All things considered, the world's still burning. Chloe Reese is still coming for these rights.
Oh, I cannot believe we're still here, but I'm still hopeful. So.
How are you?
I'm well. I did not get a lot of television in this weekend. I did a lot of gaming. So I caught up on some games that I just recently bought. I hung out with some friends. Just did a lot of stuff. I did the Peachtree Road Race. I do it every year.
Well, how was that?
It was hot. It was very. So let me not say I do it every I've just been doing it for a decade. I've been doing it for the last 5 years, and yeah, this one was tough. There were a couple of factors though. I'm not even gonna hold you. Personally, I didn't prepare myself well enough. I didn't train well enough. I thought because I technically run every day almost, or every other day, that I would be fine. But it was 95 degrees on Sunday. And yeah, it was a 10K, so it was hot. It was very tough. It was my toughest race.
I barely want to walk to my car when it's hot, so all power to you, girl. Hope you enjoyed yourself.
I'm not gonna. I did not. Yeah, let's just say I did not set any records past what I have done in the past. But I made it. We made it, and I did not faint. So that's all that matters.
All that matters.
Yeah, I'm good too, though. I'm just wondering when America's gonna collapse within itself.
I give it a solid 2.5 hours.
Can you make a promise? Can you pinky promise on that?
I can't, because there's one thing America has taught me is to always expect the unexpected. This hell might keep itself up for the next 500 years. Who
How
knows?
is it that highways in Atlanta can collapse but America can't?
That whole bridge really did burn, didn't it?
And they blamed it on a crackhead. They said a crack pipe destroyed a whole multi-ton concrete bridge.
Didn't another bridge burn recently? Or collapse? I don't know. I could be making that up. And of course they be falling. You see the way they be slagging these bridges? And Georgia 400 was built up in 3 days. And they're like, you're good. This thing is 50 feet off the ground. You're like, I don't know if I trust this bridge.
But we drive on it every day.
Every day.
I went down a rabbit hole and I watched collapses and sinkholes and stuff in different cities, and it was all bad. Don't ever go on YouTube and watch those videos. It's really never going to make you want to leave your house ever again.
I'm just happy that we have the same kind of thing going on, because I'd be looking up like top 10 tsunamis and
it was a downward spiral. I saw like the top 10 deadliest tourist areas. Then it was like top 10 sinkholes that came. I know a whole like bus in England fell into a sinkhole.
Oh my gosh.
It was, yeah. I try not to do it, but YouTube, girl, sometimes you get me.
You know what's
Sometimes you
awful?
get me.
I have anxiety, which, you know, we'll talk about that in a little bit. But whenever I'm going on a flight, I'll look up like plane crashes.
Why?
What
sense does that make?
I don't know. I like to make everything worse, including my anxiety.
Well, people out there don't do that. I don't think I've ever looked that up. I've seen it, but I never think about planes crashing. I know it happens. It's just, maybe it's because I've been flying my entire life, or I don't know. I just never think about it. I just never think like this plane that I'm on. And I guess that's what some people think too when they get on planes or they get in the car and like, I'm never going to get in a car accident, but...
Oh no, my brain I'd be looking out the window, looking at the wing. I'd be looking and be like, what if there's one single bolt that's not correctly fastened?
I have seen where
that one thing is gonna be a wrap.
I have seen where they fixed a crack in like the windshield of a plane one time, and it was off by millimeters, like very, very small, minute. And the wind pressure couldn't take it, so the windshield ended up cracking and popping open. And this pilot was hanging out of the plane for 20 minutes.
Oh my gosh!
As they landed, they thought he was dead, but he survived.
Good for him.
Yeah. So I guess I just can't think about that. Our mutual friend, I was talking to them about how I fall asleep on the planes all the time. It's something in the vents. It's something in those vents. As soon as I get on that plane, it's like lights out, like a light. Slept through the flight. And they were like, no, I got to stay up because I need to see my death.
But let's talk about that mutual friend, because I know exactly who you're talking about. She's sitting right next to us, so if you hear giggling, that's why. We were on a flight back from, I think it was Colorado or New York or whatever. We're flying. I fall asleep on a plane, which I don't really fall asleep on planes normally, so this was a very special occasion. This is probably the first time I fell asleep on a plane, really, because I do enjoy flying. It makes me excited, which also makes it hard to sleep. But I'm sleeping, chilling, not right. And then I get a tap on my shoulder. It's my friend. She's like, "Hey, wake up! We're about to land." I'm like, "Okay, cool." So I wake up, looking out the window because the shade was closed. I open up the shade, and Hurricane Katrina was outside. And the pilot comes on. He's like, "Go ahead and buckle your seatbelts. We're gonna experience some rough air." I've never experienced turbulence like that in my life.
It was the kind of turbulence you had to hold on to.
You had to hold on to the seat. I looked over to her and I was like, I know damn well you didn't wake me up to die. I was asleep, wouldn't even known it was happening unless she had woke me up.
Listen, Bonnie and Clyde in this piece, we go and we ride together, we die together.
I was like, I know you fucking lying. I know you are lying to me, girl. I just want to... What, girl? It's called rest in peace. I'm trying to rest before my peace. Okay, like what?
How did you die?
The way that plane was shaking, we almost did. Southwest, you'll never catch me again except when you get me on them $49 round trips to Miami. You'll get me for that. But outside of that, you ain't going to get me no more.
I've been trying to like do the getaways, and it just, the horror stories y'all tell me about Southwest is just like I can't bring myself to get on the plane. Okay, so it's no secret to my friends. I fly Delta. Now, granted, it's not because I'm bougie per se. Delta is the primary airline in my area.
You know what it is?
So it's like flights on top of flights. They have the most flights going out of the area that I'm flying out of.
You know what it is? Delta be slacking $10,000 to get the fuck off the flight.
Okay, I cannot tell you.
That's what it really is.
And when I say people was thinking that was fake, it was not. I have gotten off many a Delta flight because they were slagging money and gift cards. And I think the last time I got off a flight, it was going to put me in the next day, right? And I was like, do I really want to lose a day? It's fine. It was a later flight, so I wouldn't have landed till like 9 p.m. anyway, where I was going. And they were like, well, we just need 4 volunteers, and we're offering $600 a piece. Now, if you know me, I'm a negotiator, and these airlines will give you what you ask for. Nobody was going up there because nobody wanted to not get in till the next day. So I waited a little bit. I saw that nobody was going up there, so I knew I had negotiating power. I was like, I'll take X amount of money, thank you. I will be staying at this hotel tonight, thank you. I will be eating at this restaurant tonight, thank you so much for everything that you provided. And I walked away with more than what they were offering, and I got on that 6 a.m. flight the next day. No worries, not a care in the world, with my drink vouchers.
Okay, listen. When I was going to Spain a couple weeks ago, they did that, and they were like, it started at like 800, then it went to 1,200, 2,000. The person I was with, I was like, listen, if it reaches 5,000, I'm out.
I'm out.
I'll see you when you get back.
Head, bread, and leave.
And leave. It only got to 3,000 though, so I didn't give up my seat.
3,000 is still. I would have probably gotten up.
Hindsight, I probably should have took the money.
It really depends though, because you were traveling internationally, so you would have lost like a day and a half, right?
Yeah, I think the next flight, because of the way I was flying, I wouldn't have gotten to where I was going for like the day, like 2 days, something like that. Anyway.
Yeah,
should have took it, but it's fine. I'll be flying Delta again, mainly for the possibility of getting $10,000.
Because they will prioritize. They always oversell their tickets, but they prioritize their medallion members by status. So if it's somebody with a higher status that need to get on that flight, they're gonna boost your basic economy ass off so that they can get that seat. So, Delta girl, you got a good one in me. I saw the pilots were, doing their thing, protesting in Atlanta, and I stand a livable wage. But it's trouble when you see white men making 6 figures protesting.
Need to get it together.
Anywho, so as you know, or as some of you are new here, you can anticipate episodes from us every Friday, Friendship Fridays. We, do our thing with the icebreakers and the questions. It's what we do. If you've been listening, if you're new here, we're telling you right now, this is what we do. So, July is Black or BIPOC, people of color, mental health month. So, we just kind of wanted to talk about that a little bit as we are ushering in what seems like
the apocalypse.
I was going to say the second chariot of slavery, but they're both one and the same, probably. So, unfortunately, we're here. So, we want to check in with our listeners and, kind of examine ourselves as we guide this discussion this week to just see how we're doing mentally. So, this week's question, Miki, I want to ask, what do you do to cheer yourself up when maybe you don't feel the best mentally?
Honestly, I'm pretty mentally unwell 70% of the time. So what I usually do, I'm kidding, by the way. Please, I do not need a pair of grippy socks. I'm fine. We're good.
I wish we had a camera in here.
I was kidding. We're good. We're fine.
Not to say that not being unwell is funny. Woo, that just caught me off guard. Okay.
But without fail, 100% of the time, no matter how bad I feel, if I'm angry, if I had a long day, if I'm anxious, heartbroken, whatever the case may be, a nap.
That is fair.
Helps me so much. I feel like when I'm not well rested, my emotions feel more heightened. I feel more susceptible to them. I can regulate my emotions for the most part, pretty well. But when I'm sleepy, it just makes it 10 times harder. I'm more irritable. I can't think straight. But something about just getting some sleep, it really, one, gives you some time to kind of disconnect from whatever you're feeling or the day that you kind of had or whatever's bringing you down. Or stressing you out, whatever the case may be. But after you wake up, you just kind of your brain had a chance to file away things, for lack of a better term, and like process stuff. Like your brain does a lot of work when you're sleeping.
Yeah,
Like
it
you are
regenerates itself.
right.
So.
You're processing. You're getting rid of old memories. You're storing away new memories. You're like I said, processing the day, processing your experiences and stuff like that. So giving your chance to just like rest and let your brain just do its thing, well, it just makes it so much better.
That's good. And it's funny you say that because I too was going to say something similar. Like, I think we underestimate what rest and sleep does for us. So rest and sleep don't always have to be synonymous with each other. Like, you can rest and not be asleep, but peaceful rest, like in the terms of sleeping, can do so much for you. If I'm having a day where I'm feeling overwhelmed, and this is how I know sometimes I am feeling overwhelmed, because this kind of like egregious tiredness will come over me, and I'll just immediately like feel drained or tired, like I want to lay down and go to sleep. Sometimes I fight through that because sometimes that's not what I need to do or want to do. But a lot of times I do lay down. I will lay down. And even if I don't sleep, I will just sit in whatever I'm experiencing and try to let that time pass. I think sleep is so important, though. You're so right. Like, your brain is so much more alert and palpable to what's happening to you in the moment when you're rested. Like, I know I have some friends who deal with mental illness, and that mental illness affects their sleep. And so they don't get a lot of rest. And I know that it's like almost kind of like a vicious cycle, because I know that they're not getting rest. And so then it's just causing that mental illness to be even more palpable. It's just causing all of that to just make them feel overwhelmed. I personally believe that a lack of sleep is torture.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Honestly, I think it's a form of torture. I mean, the Bible talks about like how it's torturous to not have peaceful rest in your sleep and like your mind be at rest. But yeah, I feel like they used it in like war tactics and stuff like that to keep people awake.
I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, no. Kind of what you're saying about the vicious cycle. I'm very open about the fact that I have anxiety. It's nothing new. It's nothing crazy. Ooh. But yeah, no, like I would struggle to fall asleep at night, and then that would make my anxiety worse, and then it would kind of just go back and forth, back and forth. So yeah, no, sleep's super important. I mean, of course, I'm not saying that's the only way you can feel better or, kind of get yourself like back in good spirits, for lack of a better term. But that's what personally helps me a lot. That and food. Sometimes if I'm hungry, it also kind of have those same experiences of like, I'm irritated, I'm angry, I'm upset, I'm down, or whatever the case may be. But normally, sleep is what is like the icing on the cake.
Yeah, it sounds like just if you can try to like take care of your, I guess, basic human needs, like necessities, sleep, eating.
Yeah,
it helps for you. So, as we said, July is Black Mental Health Awareness Month, and Mickey said he's very open about the fact that he deals with anxiety, and we're pretty open about going to therapy here and the things that we deal with on the mental health aspect. And I will be completely transparent in saying I myself have never been diagnosed with a mental health issue or, felt like I dealt with one on a consistent basis. I go through spouts where I may feel not like myself, but I have a lot of friends who I support, and I try to do my best in supporting, them in their journey. So what would you say like mental health means to you, or like what kind of feeling mentally well would look like for you as somebody who deals with anxiety?
I did not expect to be in therapy today.
I'm not your therapist. Listen to the message at the beginning. We're not licensed individuals.
Michael is going to have my head for this.
Miguel can have it. He is very well trained, and I'm sure he gets paid the big bucks because he knows what he's doing.
I don't know if he'll ever listen to this. I don't think he's allowed to for like HIPAA reasons. But did you know therapists? Well, don't quote me on this, but like, what kind of therapist is it? It's either like a counselor. It's some form of therapist that doesn't make a lot of money. I was
A
very
lot of
surprised by that.
therapists, a lot of counselors, a lot of people in the mental health arena don't make a lot of money. So unless you are with a very profitable private practice, or you have your own successful private practice, you don't make a lot of money. I actually am was in school and then started my master's, and I do plan to go back to go into the therapy realm. So that is something that has always called me. I've always been drawn to mental health issues, people who I feel like, are tortured in their mind, because it's not fair, it's not okay. You should be able to be at peace. And so I've always been called to the arena to try to do my best to help people in those situations. And I learned in my undergrad years and when I was going towards graduate school that there are a lot of stipulations. Like, a lot of psychologists make like $30,000 or $40,000 a year. And not to say that that's not a livable wage, but you think about, like, with that type of degree, you have to get a master's and you have to get licensed. So that means I have to continue schooling to be able to do the job that I want to do and not make enough money to pay that schooling back if necessary. So that's just all kinds of backwards. I learned that you have to, in a lot of realms, when people are using insurance, you have to diagnose them in the first visit in order to file an insurance claim, which can lead to a lot of misdiagnosis, because if you know anything about like the book of mental illnesses and different things like that, there are a lot of them that have similar symptoms. Mm-hmm. And so what it boils down to is you're looking for like which one kind of fits this person a little bit. So if there are 6 symptoms for 2 different illnesses, does this person fit 4 of them on this realm or 5 of them on this realm?
Right.
So yeah, it's kind of sad because we don't take into account that we take for granted the people who are put on this earth to literally like instill with us the ability to live. We don't pay teachers enough. We don't pay therapists enough. We pay doctors, but in actuality, even in the medical field, you have all these horror stories of people who don't get the proper treatment that they need. Like, and especially Black people.
That was a big wake-up call during the Black Lives Matter movement. I was like, wait, doctors don't try to save my life? That's crazy. I didn't think about that. But, yeah, no, all those were really good points, especially here in, the good old US of A, or whatever the hell they call this place. All of that is a very sad reality. But anyway, to your question about what does mental wellness, what would it look like for me? Which I do appreciate that you asked it kind of like that way, because I don't think it's the same for everybody.
Yeah.
So if you listen to this and you don't really vibe with what I say, totally fine. Maybe my form of mental wellness isn't the same as yours. So.
And if you don't want to answer it, it's fine.
Oh no, I don't mind answering it. To me, mental wellness would be being able to take on life's challenges and use the tools that I've kind of gained throughout life to navigate those challenges, no matter how hard they might be. Life's going to throw you curveballs. It throws everyone's curveballs. And being able to not just work through the situation, but also work through the emotions that come along with that situation. Because I don't want people to think that, being mentally well means like you never have a bad day, and you never cry, you're never sad, you're never angry, you're just totally zen all the time. That's not true.
That doesn't exist, by the way.
At all, whatsoever. So to me, being mentally well is being able to feel those feelings, work through those feelings, not let it completely derail your life and, cause you to, not so much like act a certain way, because of course certain emotions are going to make you act certain ways, but like hypothetically you experience like a loss and you don't let like the overwhelming feeling of like grief and sadness make you start like, abusing something or drinking a lot or something like that. Like having the tools to sit with that emotion, work through it, while simultaneously working on the situation itself. Also, I think I hear my cat.
Yeah, you may hear. Can I say his name?
Sure, I don't care.
Loki.
L-O-K-I.
Yeah, Loki. You may hear him in the background. We had to put him away because I have a terrible cat allergy, and but I love my friend, and I love his cat, even though his cat inevitably will kill me if I give him long enough. But yeah, we had to put him away, and he doesn't like that because he's a free range cat. This cat is living over here. You hear me? He's living his best life.
I mean, we can have a topic about being forced to interact with your friends' pets or kids.
It's coming. Retweet. Ooh, wee. But yeah, I lost my train of thought on that because that hit me in my soul. It really did, being forced to do that. But yes, so I definitely appreciate you talking about and being vulnerable and open in the ability of what it looks like for you to have a good mental health day. Like I said, as someone who doesn't necessarily deal with anxiety or mental health issues, sometimes Loki is going crazy.
He's fine.
But but I see how it affects the people that I love. And fun fact, the first time I actually ever did go to therapy was after my dad passed away. So it was to deal with grief. And I needed to learn that it was okay to be angry and go through the emotions that I was going through, and even like angry with God and just like going through that. That was the first time, and I did that for about a year and stopped. And now like in my adult life, I've gone to a couple of different therapists for a couple of different reasons. I would like to talk a little bit about what the experience for you was like finding a therapist that fit for you.
Whew. Jesus. That was, oh my God. It took me years to find a good therapist. I don't remember the order of these, honestly. So I'm just going to like name them off and just explain each situation. Mm-hmm. I initially went to therapy, it was a few years ago. I don't remember exactly what the situation was that was causing me to go to therapy. Probably the multiple years of childhood trauma. But
let's talk about it.
Not right now. I'm still got to work with that with Michael and Loki. Me and Loki be talking about my childhood trauma. So I forgot what exactly pushed me to going. It might have just been a general feeling, not mentally well. It may have been a certain situation. I'm not 100% sure. That was at the time where I didn't really know much about like what resources were out there to find a therapist that would be good for you, or like what kind of mental help to go look for. Like, do I see a therapist? Do I see a psychologist? Do I see a monk? Like, who knows?
You're gonna go to the mountaintop.
Okay, right. Become the next Avatar. So I just called my insurance company. I was like, hey, I just want like a list of therapists around my general area. And they're like, okay, cool, we'll email it to you. So I just called like the first person on it. I didn't really think much of it. And I was like, oh yeah, like all therapists know what they're doing. They all are the same. Like they all have the same schooling. It'll be fine. So the first person was, don't remember her name. Hope you're doing well, whoever you are. But she was a Caucasian woman. Like I said, I didn't really know much about what I was supposed to be looking for in a therapist. So I was like, oh yeah, like I'm just going to give it a shot. Like, yes, I have nothing, in common with this middle-aged Caucasian woman, but she seems nice. So I was going to a few sessions, probably like once every week. And while I feel like I learned a little bit, something about it just wasn't like a connection there. Like I didn't really feel like, I don't want to say I didn't feel heard, because she could easily like recite everything I said back to her, but more so.
There's a difference.
Right.
Yeah.
Like.
You didn't feel seen.
That's maybe a better way to put it. Yeah, I didn't feel seen. Because like I would explain, like talk about these different experiences I have as like as a gay person or as a black person or whatever, and she would just be like, gotcha. So that relationship didn't last very long. That kind of put me off on therapy for a few years, probably like another like 2 years before I went and saw another one. At this point, I had been a little more aware of what I should be looking for, and I actually ended up connecting with this probably around the same age, but she was a black woman. I was like, okay, she's a black woman, like, we have more in common than, the last therapist I had. Let's see how it goes. Unfortunately, this was like right when COVID started to happen. or like started to really pop off. So most of my sessions were online, which there's nothing wrong with online therapy. Let me say that, but it just wasn't for me.
Yeah.
Like something about like talking over Zoom
That's fair.
wasn't really like jiving very well for me. That and I'm not gonna say she misdiagnosed me, but the methods we were using to treat what I was going through weren't effective.
And you recognized that they weren't effective for you.
I didn't know if they were. Yeah, I didn't know if it was her or what we were doing that was the problem. Because what we were doing was what I believe is still called CBT, which is cognitive behavioral therapy. And for while yes, that is helpful, there was other methods that were more effective later on that I didn't discover until for me, right? For me, let me be clear.
No, I think that's an important part. And I don't mean to cut you off, but when you hear about therapy, you don't even hear about the fact that sometimes the methods that they go through with you just don't work for you. You just have to find a therapist that can do those methods for you. Yeah,
everyone, people react to different things. People go through different things. So, which brings me to my current therapist, Michael. You a real one.
Miguel, love you.
I discovered him about a year ago. Actually, probably about a year ago today. Honestly, what really drove me to go there, just being transparent. Unfortunately, Io passed away. Someone I looked up to. R.I.P. Garrett.
R.I.P. You were a real one.
A real one.
Love you.
Lost my grandmother shortly thereafter. Very randomly. So that was around Christmas time. Then I almost died. TM.
You had a rough holiday. I'm not going to hold you.
Got my tonsils taken out. I almost did not make it out of that.
Rudimentary surgery, tonsils removed, and it was out like a light. I almost took him out.
Best nap of my life. You hear me? I woke up and I was like, how long has it been? They said 18 hours. I was like, oh, I can't wait to do it again. And then I had to deal with the breakup. So I was just like, I was mentally just like, I'm done. And also along with America being ghetto and stuff like that, I was like, I just need to talk to somebody. So I went to Psychology Today, which why we are not being sponsored by them unless they want to sponsor us.
Okay, I love Psychology Today. I wanted to write for them at one point.
They were really good. I looked it up. Someone suggested it to me. I want to say it was like one of my friends or like a coworker or something like that. But yeah, you go on there. You can put in your insurance. You can put in like what gender of like therapist you want to see, like what are your symptoms, like more about yourself, such as like are you LGBT, are you a person of color,
and maybe we can include we'll include the resources we talk about in the description box below.
Yes, of course. So went on there. I was very specific about what I wanted to find. This was right around when COVID's still a thing today, but it was right around where it was started.
When y'all niggas acting like we just living, I don't know.
But so getting availability was kind of hard. So I wasn't like super. There were certain things I was looking for. Like I knew I wanted to work with someone who was a part, within the LGBT community.
When you say getting availability, you mean like after you put in all of like the communities and different things that you were a part, it was just it was a short list of therapists that were available to you in your network?
No, not so much a short list. More so like because of the pandemic and because people were going back in the office, it was just like their availability was like, I can get to you in 7 months. I was like, girl,
they just didn't have openings.
Right. I was like, it's gonna be a wrap in 7 months. I need help today. So I was a little more lenient as far as like what I was looking for, but I did know I wanted to find a gentleman. And I also knew I wanted to find someone who was at least like within the LGBT alphabet somewhere.
Yeah.
Of course, it would have been nice to have worked with someone black, but I do think that's still important. I am very interested in working with a black man at some point in the future.
But Miguel he putting his thing down, flipping it and reversing it.
Okay, Michael got his heel on the back of my neck. But yeah, no, I found him about a year ago. It honestly has been the most life-changing experience I've ever had.
I've seen it. I've literally seen the fruits of it.
You're so kind. Same. Not gonna lie, I kind of had like a very naive, but also kind of like go-getter attitude about it. I was like, I'm gonna go to therapy and I'm gonna be done in like 5 months. I'm gonna fix all the trauma and everything wrong with me, and it's gonna be great.
Stay living on a timeline.
Yeah, I know it's not the healthiest thing in the world. But so here I am a year later, still going to therapy. Which kind of what you're saying about timelines. You really can't put a timeline on therapy. Like, you know, you might go through a few therapists. You might work with a therapist for a few months and outgrow them.
And that happens too,
right?
right?
That happens too.
Yeah.
You might, you know, think you're getting well with a therapist and realize you're hitting like a roadblock. Like, the journey to mental wellness and mental health is not an easy one. It's not linear. Like, you'll make 7 steps forward and 2 steps back.
That's a
You'll
good
go up,
point.
down, left, right, flip down and reverse it. So if you are out there looking for a therapist right now and you think like this is just hopeless and there's no point in doing this, just keep giving it a shot. It took me, this is now my 3rd therapist. I'm actually think I'm forgetting one of them, honestly. Am I forgetting one? I think I saw like a school therapist when I was in college. But I don't remember
That could
anything
be.
about that experience. So, you know,
Probably a good thing.
right, probably a good thing. So just give it time, be patient with yourself, and just keep going. You guys got this.
Got it. I love that. And I know I'm probably putting you on the spot a lot with this, but I just feel like your story and what you have to say is so important because, you know, being a black man, a part of the LGBTQ alphabet soup community, and taking your mental health seriously is a category in its own, and a lot of people need to hear that they're not alone in it. You know what I mean? And so, you know, you talked a little bit about like getting introduced to like psychology today and like going on the journey to find the therapist or a counselor, someone you knew you were not living a life that was, I don't want to use the term normal, but you knew something was off. You knew like I'm not experiencing emotions the way that I feel like I should be experiencing. What were like your initial thoughts on therapy growing up as a black man?
I am luckily kind of in the, generationally speaking, I'm in between like millennial and Gen Z. Like,
Yeah,
I'm at the
you're right
very
at the
tail
cusp.
end of millennial, but I'm at the very tip of Gen Z. So I was kind of luckily brought into the environment of, well, not the environment, but like the mindset or like the generational mindset of like people have these like mental health issues and it's okay to talk about it. It's okay to seek help. That doesn't make you like weak. It doesn't make you like less than. It shouldn't make you feel ashamed and stuff like that. Now, growing up in a black household had some interesting, you know, experiences in regards to this. I wasn't really open about like, oh yeah, I'm feeling sad or I'm feeling this, that, and the third when I was younger, mainly because I just didn't know how to identify those feelings myself. Like, I might have been angry, but I might have come across angry, but maybe I was sad or maybe I was anxious. Like, I wasn't really good about identifying what those feelings were growing up. But if there ever was an experience where like I felt like I wanted to talk to my parents, I usually got the "you should pray about it," or "let's Jesus will put you right," or "let's
Jesus is a fixer, and that he is. However, comma, two things can exist at the same time.
At the same time. Okay, so it was. I'm not a very religious person. I go back and forth with if God exists sometimes. I still don't know to this day. I won't know until I die, or who knows? Maybe I won't even know at that point. So hearing you should pray about it, or just anything related to that is just like, okay, girl, I did that. I still feel bad. It's not working.
I went to sleep.
I went to sleep. I prayed. I went to church. I went to Bible study.
And my mind is still racing.
Still racing. As I grew up, though, especially within the past, like I would say, like 4 or 5 years, I've been able to identify, like, oh, okay, like this feeling I'm experiencing or this, emotion is this. Like I can really call it out. Be like, I'm sad, or
it's made you emotionally aware, which is a part of mental health. For
yes,
sure, being
of course.
emotionally aware.
Definitely being mentally aware is a part of mental health. I would say probably like one of the fundamental building blocks of it, honestly. But yeah, growing up black, especially in a religious household, going to church and praying to Jesus was like the medicine for everything. You having a bad day, pray about it. It's just weird, honestly. I don't know if that's other people's experiences. Like, I don't know if that's your experience, but that's something that I definitely experienced in, like, my household.
Yeah. So I'm not on the cusp of Gen Z and millennial, but I am in a generation
Geriatric.
where
I'm sorry.
wow. It really be on.
It just slips out. I'm sorry. I'm just getting tired of seeing old folks in office.
I'm not old, nor am I in office.
Not you specifically. I mean, just like.
Wow. If I was dealing with I would have took over there. Jesus. No, it's fine.
I love you.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah. My parents were a little bit more open. My mom especially. My mom is she grew up in a traditional Southern black household. So, if you know, you know. And so some of those ideals she took into raising her kids, but as she grew older, she realized like maybe that's not the best way to deal with things. So she was pretty open with us. My mom, I will never forget, she told me one day because we were talking about sex or something very intimate. And I was like, I asked my friend if their parents talked to them about this, and they said no. And she was like, I'm talking to you about the things I wish my mom had talked to me about. And so I'll never forget that, and I'll never, and I think that's why she approached a lot of things the way that she did, because she parented me in the way she wished at times she was parented. So I really appreciate that. My dad was a little, and then I have uncles who are niggles, and they just, when you say therapy, it's like, oh, are you crazy? You need some Vicodin or
some Robitussin or some
yeah,
shit.
You need some ginger ale. You need some did you pray about it? You been going to church? What church are you part of? You been tithing? You been doing? And I'm just like, I know God. I actually know Him very well. God put these people on earth for a reason. Like, He gives talents unto men. So why wouldn't therapy be one of those talents? Like, why wouldn't the gift of being able to effectively counsel someone learn? Like, because everybody don't go into therapy. I do feel a lot of people do it from the heart. Now, you said you run into some people who, just like doctors, sometimes you run into people who don't do what they're supposed to do with the oaths that they take. But I'm saying, like, we trust mechanics to fix our cars. We trust these doctors to diagnose us when we're feeling sick, when we're feeling ill. We trust that the right amount of taxes are being taken out of our check. We trust all these things.
That? I don't trust that.
I mean, you ain't got a choice.
I'd be looking at my pay stub thinking, where's the money?
I actually do feel like the amount of taxes I pay is egregious. It is. I could throw up with the amount of tax. And when they tell you the higher you go in the tax bracket, the more you pay until you hit. It's crazy because if you're in between a certain amount, your taxes are obscenely large. But then if you go over a certain amount, they dissipate. And I'm just like, why is it that people who are making almost $500,000 a year are paying less than someone making $150,000 a year? I don't even want to get in that, but yeah. So we trust all these people, we trust these books and all these things to tell us what we need to know. Why wouldn't you trust a licensed professional? And I think I did sometimes see on television, in pop culture and different things like that, and from other family members, that we thought therapy, a lot of people think you go to therapy to find a fix, or you like how you go to a doctor and they prescribe you medicine and your cold goes away and you don't experience a cold again. A lot of people go to therapy, they think the therapist is going to give them something that will make whatever they're dealing with immediately go away in 7 days. Take your antibiotics, don't drink any liquor, don't smoke, just take these antibiotics and you'll be fine in 7 days. And that's honestly not what it's about. Like I said, this is something that I have studied before and want to study. Therapists and counselors are equipped with tools to teach you how to cope with everyday life. That's what their job honestly is. And I'm not gonna say that's what their job is, but that's a part of their job, to teach you how to cope. And so teach you how to like handle stress and relate to people and deal with the thoughts that you're going through, make healthy choices, what would be quote unquote healthy choices for yourself. Like it's and your mental health changes in every stage of life too, and people don't realize that. So you may have felt one way in your teenage years that you no longer feel, or you feel something different now in adulthood that you didn't feel when you were a teenager. And how can you go to someone and think like they would be able to, like, in 3 or 4 sessions fix this?
I'm so happy you said that. That's something that I had struggled with, especially with like Michael. I went to him for answers, not for guidance. So I would have habits of being like, what should I do, or what would you do in this situation? And he'd be like, I can't tell you that. And I'm like, what do you mean? I'm like, we actually had like a whole not argument, like a debate about it. Which, I mean, tangent real quick. Debating with your therapist is healthy. So if you and your therapist debate or have a little spat, it's not. It's a healthy thing. You are in a relationship with this person. It's just not. It's not a romantic relationship, but it is a type of relationship.
It is a relationship. I'm so glad you said that it's a relationship, because what do you have when you're in a relationship with people? Trust.
There it is. So back to what I was saying. What I would have habits of being like, I don't know what to do. What would you do? Or like, how would you handle this? And he's like, I can't tell you that, because like what I would do is based on my experiences and like what I've been.
Go off. See, that's why I said Miguel, he making the big bucks.
Michael's good. So that's something that I struggle with a lot. So like, I'm happy you said that. Like when you go to a therapist, you know, you really can't go in there seeking for them to, you know, just grab you by the arm, shake the bad out of you, and call it a day.
And that's how it's portrayed, right? You see them on the straight jackets, and it's crazy the way that we deal with mental health in pop culture. But that's another tangent.
Yeah, honestly, like, just speaking more about therapy, it's been a really enlightening experience. I have a long way to go, which is, like I said earlier, therapy is a long journey. It's not linear. The journey to mental wellness. The journey to mental wellness is, you know, it's not easy, but you should be proud of yourself if you go down that journey, because you're going to learn a lot, you're going to grow a lot, you're going to hurt a lot. Yeah. You're going to open your eyes to a lot of things. You're going to experience feelings that you don't really want to experience, but it's so enriching.
Did you learn in therapy how to like celebrate your wins?
Oh no, I hate celebrating. I don't like being center of attention, which is funny because I like being a DJ. So it's actually funny. So I DJ'd in Spain. It was like one of my first official live shows. Had a really great time.
Took them up. I'm talking about had the club going up on a Tuesday. It was a Thursday, but same difference.
I appreciate it. But yeah, kind of like what I just did. Like, I am very nonchalant about the things I do. I don't really like boost myself up. It makes me uncomfortable. I don't really know why that is. I don't talk about myself very much. Like, my best friend Greg actually brought this up. He was like, honestly, I don't know what's going on in your life because you don't talk about it. I'm like, what do you mean? I was like, we talk all the time. He's like, yeah, but like, I'll ask you like, what's going on, or like, what's new in life? You'd be like, oh, nothing much. Nothing, just chilling, working. That's it. Nothing crazy. Meanwhile, I've went to Spain, DJ'd, got a cat, and all this other stuff. It's just, I have yet to talk to Michael about this, so I don't have an actual idea of where it comes from or why I picked that behavior up from.
One step at a time.
But yeah, I don't really do very good with celebrating myself. I celebrate my friends though. I love boosting up my friends.
Yeah, you do. I asked because like I think you understanding now that it's like not a linear journey and it's going to take some time, and you are just giving yourself that grace is a form of celebration in the sense of you understand how far you've come in conjunction with understanding how far you have to go, which is fine. Like you can celebrate making it to one finish line and understanding that there's another one ahead for sure. So like I said before, I appreciate your candidness and your ability to like share your journey with us and our listeners. We are just out here trying to make a difference. Honestly, like, people need to know they're not alone. So, I'll just say, like, for me, I feel like I understand mental health in the sense of, like, supporting individuals who deal with mental health issues. And this is probably where we can capstone the conversation now, because you've given so much insight. I hope the listeners have gained a lot of information. I know I did, for sure. I don't know if you have any other friends that deal with mental health issues, but if you do, can you maybe share some of the ways that you support them in their journey to, like, mental health wellness?
My one piece of advice I have in this situation, because not to put anyone on blast, I love all my friends. A lot of y'all need help. Point blank period. Just being honest. Go to therapy. But with love, honestly, I do say this. When you're dealing with a friend who may not be mentally well, may they be aware of it or not, is you have to be patient. And you just have to encourage them. Because at the end of the day, you can't force anybody to do anything. I can point out
truth.
all these things I know, like I can be like, hey, you're doing this. I observe you're doing these behaviors. You're acting like this, that, and a third. And they may take that well. They may not take it well. I guess it depends on how you deliver it and how open they are and how they feel about you and the friendship and stuff like that, or the relationship. But at the end of the day, I could list out all these things, all these observations I make about you, and they could still be like, cool, great, whatever. I'm not doing shit about it.
It's like when you ask somebody, are they hungry, and you list 17 restaurants and they don't want any of them.
Not any of them. So just being encouraging and be like, like, I'm concerned about you, like, you seem to be dealing with this, or, this in particular situation seems heavy, like, do you need to talk to someone, or things like that. That's more like, for lack of a better term, I guess, open-ended and not like accusatory. Like, you're not like, you're so anxious and you need to get it together. It's more of like, I'm coming from a place of love and be like, I'm concerned about you. I see you're dealing with this. I know that's not the easiest thing in the world. Like, have you considered talking to someone? I find that to be a lot better. Once again, you can list all these things. You could print out a list of psychologists in their area. You can be like, oh yeah, girl, I see, Monique down the road. She, I think she'd be a good fit for you or whatever. Like, you can do all those things. And the person, at the end of the day, if they don't want to go or if they don't think it's a problem, they're not going to do anything about it. Yeah. So, and that's where the patience kind of comes in. Like I said, some people aren't aware of what they're going through or what they're feeling. Yeah. They may exhibit these like symptoms or, behaviors, but they think, oh no, this is normal. I'm fine. I'm gonna just go pray about it or whatever. So just being patient, like, you really can't force anybody to do anything, and actually, I guess I do have one other piece of, advice. While I think it's super admirable to be there for people and want to push them to take care of themselves and, live a happy life, if they don't see a problem with it and it's starting to affect you, it's okay to walk away from that relationship.
Absolutely. I was just about to say,
you can walk away.
Yeah, support does not mean self-deprecation and like self-sacrifice. You can walk away.
You can walk right away. Like, like I said, you can be supportive and stuff like that, but once it starts affecting your mental health, that's when you have to really sit there and think,
that's big.
Is this worth my time? Is it worth my energy? Is it worth my mental health? Because you still have to think about yourself at the end of the day. Like, if you can't, what do they say? Put your mask on before you put the children's mask on? Fuck them kids. Okay? That's the airline says, fuck them kids.
Airplanes don't tell you the kids. They just say, how you going to give somebody else oxygen and you ain't got no oxygen?
Okay? So that's my two pieces of advice is, be patient, be encouraging, but at the same time, have those boundaries. Be willing to step away. Be willing to not put as much effort into it, because I can only put as much into it as you put into it.
That's
like if they're
very
only
fair.
putting 20% into like trying to get better, I'm gonna put 20% in. You know, that's just how it's gonna be. So
That's very fair. I agree with that wholeheartedly. I feel like supporting them, encouraging them, understanding that it's not about you. A lot of times when we go through these situations with people and, maybe they don't call as much, maybe they don't text back for days or weeks or whatever on end, maybe they're not up for hanging out, we'll internalize it like maybe I did something wrong, or, maybe we're beefing and I don't know. And that's not honestly the case. You have to understand that a lot of what people deal with is not about you. Now, some of y'all are trash. I'm not going to lie. But a lot of people, a lot of what is reflected is not about you. And I will say I appreciate the fact that you go to therapy and you do the work and you don't try to project the work that you do for yourself onto other people because you understand it's for yourself. I've had friends who have gone to therapy and now all of a sudden you Dr. Phil.
oh girl, no, I can't lead nobody to
I'm
nothing
trying
but
to figure
ruin.
out, you done went to 4 sessions, girl. Your dog ain't been fed in 4 days. You trying to tell me
Okay.
I'm projecting?
Like-
Trying to tell me about boundaries? How does that work?
Like, I like sharing what I learned just because I get excited about it, but I'm never going to be like, yeah, girl, you need to do this because I did this. Like, no, that's not my job.
I've literally had individuals be like, oh, you're projecting. That's a defense mechanism. That's this and that. And I understand being excited about what you learn and understanding yourself. But as you so eloquently stated earlier, like, a lot of the work that you do with your therapist is your work. It's based on where you are in life, your experiences, you getting better in the things that you deal with, you learning how to cope with your life, which does not always look like, and oftentimes doesn't look like someone else's life. So we can have shared experiences and being in certain communities together, but that still does not mean that my life looks like your life. So I definitely appreciate that. So supporting for sure, encouragement, and understanding that what's in your control is in your control. Yeah, I can, like you said, give the resources. I can do all this XYZ, but I will say learning the difference between sympathy and empathy for me helped a lot. It helped me understand that rarely do like words change a person's mood. Rarely do somebody can come and tell you something very difficult and tough. And shout out to my girl Brene Brown, because if y'all ain't seen her Netflix, she has a TED Talk and she has done a lot of work, and she's in the people first atmosphere and like teaching people how to like be empathetic and different things to one another. I had known about empathy and sympathy, and I studied it a little bit beforehand. Like I said, having a background and degree in like psychology and all these different things. But as I got older, I really learned that there's a true difference between empathy and sympathy. And when I was younger, my initial inclination was to try to fix the issue when people would come to me with the problem. And I have to understand that rarely can I ever, if I can ever, fix it.
Right.
So what people honestly need a lot of times when they come to you with difficult scenarios and difficult situations is a listening ear. They just need somebody to hear. They just need somebody to talk to. And this goes back to therapy. Everybody has something to talk to somebody about.
Absolutely.
I don't care how you grew up. Like, you have something that happened in your life that you would love to be able to talk to an objective party about to figure out why you feel the way you feel about what happened to you. And so if we can do that with our friends, like I said, I know the natural inclination is that's your friend, you love them, and you want to fix it. But a sandwich ain't gonna fix it. Hike is not going to fix it. Swim is not going to fix it. A trip is not going to fix it. It's not going to fix those issues. Just continue to show your support. So you show your solidarity with them, like listen to what they have to say. I had to learn not to like give the cliches too of like pray about it, or did you fast? Did you like
Just breathe.
just breathe? Just go outside. The sun is shining. Hello, sunshine. Like you have to. Yeah, that is. And I learned how like patronizing that was to someone going with mental health issues. I was just like, if somebody said something that to me when I was going through that, I would probably fault them.
It is incredibly frustrating. I'm not gonna lie. So this goes out to my all neurotypical individuals out there. You have a friend or a family member or hell a coworker who is telling you, "Oh yeah, like things seem bleak, things seem hopeless, things seem this, that, and the 3rd," and you hit them with the, "It could be worse," or "Just breathe," or "You should take a nap." Understand you were doing more harm than good. I'm not going to read you because I understand usually it comes from a place of love and caring and like wanting the person to feel better. So I'm not going to read y'all like that. But please think about what you're saying.
You almost got your shit rocked. You don't even understand. You almost got rocked.
Listen, I can feel it in my fist because I got a little annoyed. Like as someone who deals with these kind of problems, just be more conscious about what you say and just take a few moments to think of an actual good response. Something me and Michael went through and like in therapy was learning how to have like a compassionate statement. I'm not going to explain what that is, but look it up about what a compassionate statement is and practice that. It'll make your life a lot better. May you have a mental illness or not.
Yeah, I love that. I don't think in the aspect of therapy I know what a compassionate statement looks like, so I probably will look that up after this because that has spoken to me.
I had to learn about it so I can be nicer to myself.
Yeah, I can see that. We talk about a lot about our childhood trauma, but it's very real. Y'all better start nurturing and caring for them children the way you wished your parents would have, because baby, you're an adult now. Ain't nobody looking out but for you but you. It's all on you, boo. So I definitely understand that. I have had to go back and apologize to friends because I made statements like that, and I realized how insensitive it was for me to think I could say something like, I'm going to just say this, and then we can probably move on. Y'all watch HGTV too much because y'all think everything is a fixer-up and a quick fix. If there were a quick fix for mental health illness, would you not think somebody would have capitalized on it by now?
Okay, listen, I wish there was a happy pill I could just take. Everything's better now.
If literally there was a way for us to, like, control our minds in the senses of, like, outside of our, how do you say? If there was a way for me to say, this is the one be-all fixer, go for a hike or do XYZ, and this will absolutely change your mental health. Outside for me, which is God for me. But, like, outside of that, do you not think people would have done it by now? So what makes you think because you read a BuzzFeed article that told you that 15 minutes in the sun and that serotonin was good for your brain and it can help you breathe and understand your thoughts more, to tell someone who is literally 2 inches off the cliff, they about to jump, to turn around and go for a hike? I would probably push them off the cliff.
We both going.
We both going. Now I'm just grabbing you. We both gonna go. So yeah, I've had to, and shout out to the friends who have loved me through it and gave me grace when I didn't understand what I was doing or what I was saying, because we grow, we learn with our friends, and the people who are supposed to be in your circle, you continue to show them the grace and the favor because they're supposed to be in your circle. So shout out to y'all the real ones. Like I said, don't know what it feels like, and I can't even imagine, but the strength that you exhibit on a day-to-day basis to continue to believe that you can be better is inspiring to me, I'll say.
Well, that's so kind. Thank you, friend.
Yeah, I'm happy. I'm happy to know you.
I had to fight the urge to make like a really terrible dark joke
You should have made it. You have dark humor.
I'm trying to grow and be a better person.
I learned in therapy that humor was my defense mechanism.
Laughter is mine. I will laugh before I cry.
That's fair. I've actually seen it.
It's like
I've actually seen that.
Joker laugh. It's like a nice
it
laugh.
Is Joker laugh. I saw Joker
crying while laughing.
Yeah, so I'm still pretty sarcastic. But the sarcasm that I do now is not it's just normal now for me. It's just my normal sarcasm. It's not really a defense mechanism anymore. But I definitely used to use humor as a defense mechanism to deflect conversations. So, yeah. Thank you all for tuning in to another episode of Friendship University. If you all have any topics you would like us to discuss, if we have any therapists or counselors listening, shout us out. Tell us what you think. Give us some advice. What are some tips and tricks that you feel like you can share outside of your hourly rate? Because we know, you need to be paid for the services you give. We're not trying to tell you to give us anything for free. But what are some tips and tricks you feel like you can give us, that we can give to our listeners to deal with like mental health issues, to start or continue on their journey towards mental wellness? Shout out to all of our church kids who had to get over the pray through it movement to get to therapy. Y'all the real ones for real. You can find us. We're on Twitter at Funny Podcast. That's FUNI Podcast. You can tweet us. You can also find us at thefriendshipuniversity@gmail.com. And we are on Instagram. Friendship University on Instagram. Look out for us. We'll have everything linked in the bio. What's it called? Description box. I got mixed up with bio and box. I don't know. We'll have everything linked in the description box below. We thank you again for tuning in to another episode. And we'll catch you next week. Oh, I actually didn't ask for any final thoughts. I'm so sorry. Any final thoughts, Miki?
America is ghetto.
America. Yeah.
That's all I got for you.
Retweet. So, stay blessed. Stay happy. Keep your peace. And
peace.
Stay safe. Peace.